Welcome to Monk's Temple. Let us begin our journey together. Imagine a vast, empty field. This field is your mind. For years, the wind has been blowing seeds into this field from every direction. Seeds from your parents, teachers, society, the media. Some have grown into beautiful, nourishing plants. Others have become deep-rooted weeds that choke everything around them. Today, we are going to talk about how to become the gardener of that field. The question that brings many to this path is simple: how do I develop willpower? How do I make myself do the things I know I need to do? These are not small questions. They determine the entire course of a human life. But here is the first misunderstanding we must clear away. Willpower is not what you think it is. It is not a hammer you use to beat yourself into submission. That kind of willpower is brittle. It breaks. It exhausts you. It ultimately fails. The Buddha, that great explorer of the inner landscape, taught a different way. He spoke of a quality called chanda. This ancient word is often translated as desire or passion, but it means something far more specific. Chanda is the desire for what is wholesome. It is the passion for your own well-being. It is the deep, authentic longing to become the best version of yourself. Chanda is not a hammer. It is a magnet. It does not push. It pulls. It draws you forward not because you are fighting yourself, but because you are in love with where you are going. Think about it this way. Have you ever been in love with something you truly adore? Perhaps you love painting. When you love painting, you do not need willpower to pick up the brush. The brush calls to you. Hours pass and you do not notice. You are not forcing yourself. You are being pulled by your passion. That is chanda. That is the engine of effortless effort. Now imagine a task you dread. Filling out tax forms. Studying for an exam in a subject you find boring. Suddenly, willpower feels impossible. Every minute is a struggle. Your mind rebels. It conjures 1,000 distractions. Why? Because there is no chanda. There is no love. There is only resistance. And you are trying to push a river uphill. The secret the Buddha revealed is this: you cannot create willpower by fighting the resistance. You can only create it by cultivating the love. You must find the chanda. You must connect the task to something you deeply desire. You must see the tax forms not as a burden, but as the key to your freedom. You must see the boring textbook not as an enemy, but as the doorway to the career you genuinely want. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young man named Jonah. Jonah was a carpenter. He loved the smell of fresh-cut wood, the feel of a well-planed surface. His work was his joy. He had no trouble getting up and going to his workshop. But Jonah had a problem. He also had to run the business side of his carpentry. Emails. Invoices. Marketing. These tasks filled him with dread. He would avoid them for as long as possible. His business suffered. He felt like a failure. He would look at others who handled these tasks with ease and think, "What is wrong with me? Why don't I have their willpower?" One day, an older, wiser carpenter named Elena came to visit. He shared his frustration. "Elena," he said, "I love the wood. I love the making. But the business part drains me. I have no will for it. Elena smiled. She walked over to a beautiful oak table he had just finished. She ran her hand over the smooth surface. "Jonah," she said, "this table is magnificent. But tell me, how did it get from this workshop into the home of the family that will eat their meals on it?" Jonah thought. "Someone saw my work. They contacted me. We agreed on a price. They paid me. And how did they contact you? How did they pay you? Through email. Through an invoice." Elena nodded. "You have been seeing the business tasks as separate from your beloved craft. But look again. The email is not separate from the table. The email is the hand that reaches out and connects your creation to the world. The invoice is the energy that allows you to buy more wood, to continue making more tables. The business tasks are not the enemy of your passion. They are the servants of your passion." Jonah stood in silence. For the first time, he saw the email and the invoice not as chains, but as bridges. That evening, he sat at his computer. Before opening his email, he walked to his workshop and picked up a small wooden bowl he had made. He held it in his hands. He felt its weight, its smoothness. He remembered the joy of making it. Then he carried that feeling back to the computer. He opened his email, and he saw each message not as a burden, but as a person reaching out, as a new home for something he would create. The chanda had been found. And his will for the business tasks, which had seemed so utterly absent, began to grow. This is the first great lesson. Willpower is not a separate muscle you must develop in isolation. It is the natural expression of a desire that has been rightly seen and deeply felt. Your task is not to become a person with more willpower. Your task is to become a person who sees more clearly what you truly love, and then to connect every necessary action to that love. If this story speaks to you, if you recognize this struggle in your own life, please consider subscribing to Monk's Temple. By subscribing, you are making a quiet commitment to yourself. You are saying, "I am ready to learn." It is a small act, a single drop of water. But as we will learn together, it is the drops, consistently falling, that carve the deepest canyons. Join us. Now let us go deeper into the psychology of this process. In the modern world, we are taught to believe that motivation comes first, then action. We wait to feel motivated. We wait for the lightning bolt of inspiration. We wait to wake up one morning and suddenly want to exercise, to study, to change our lives. And when that lightning bolt does not come, we conclude that we simply lack willpower. But the Buddha's psychology reveals a different truth. Action comes first. Motivation follows. You do not wait for the feeling. You create the feeling through the action. This is not positive thinking. It is understanding how the brain actually works. Think of it like starting a fire in the rain. You cannot wait for the wood to be dry. You must find the driest tinder, arrange it carefully, and strike the flint again and again. The first sparks will be tiny. They will flicker and die. But if you keep striking, if you keep protecting those tiny sparks, eventually one will catch. It will ignite the tinder. And then, if you feed it gently and consistently, it will grow into a fire that can warm you through the coldest night. Your actions are the sparks. Your motivation is the fire. You cannot have the fire without the sparks. You must strike. You must act. You must take the first small step, even when you feel nothing. And then, if you are consistent, the fire of motivation will come. This is why the concept of a microhabit is so powerful. If you want to develop the willpower to meditate, do not commit to an hour a day. That is like trying to build a bonfire with wet logs. You will fail, and your failure will convince you that you cannot do it. Instead, commit to 1 minute. Just 1 minute of sitting and watching your breath. Anyone can do that. That 1 minute is your tiny spark. It is achievable. And when you succeed, you have proven something to yourself. You have proven that you can keep a commitment. You have planted a seed of discipline. Let me tell you another story, this time about a woman named Priya. Priya was a writer, or at least she wanted to be. She had a novel inside her, a story that had been growing for years. But she could never seem to write it. She would sit at her computer with grand intentions, and within 10 minutes, she would be scrolling through social media, avoiding her own life. She felt tremendous guilt. She felt like a fraud. She came to a meditation retreat, hoping for clarity. On the third day, during a walking meditation, she had an insight. She realized that her problem was not a lack of desire to write. She desperately wanted to write. Her problem was fear. She was terrified that what she wrote would not be good enough. She was terrified of the blank page, of the critical voice in her head. The social media scrolling was not laziness. It was escape. It was a way to avoid facing that fear. This is crucial. Often, what looks like a lack of willpower is actually an excess of fear. Your mind is not refusing to work because it is lazy. It is refusing to work because it is trying to protect you from what it perceives as a threat. The threat is psychological. It is the threat of disappointment, of judgment, of feeling inadequate. And your mind will do almost anything to avoid that pain. It will reach for the phone. It will find a snack. Anything to avoid the perceived danger of the blank page. So how did Priya overcome this? She did not try to fight her fear. She did not try to force herself to write. Instead, she made a deal with herself. She said, for the next month, I am not allowed to write my novel. I am only allowed to write 1 paragraph a day about anything else. I can write about what I ate for breakfast. I can write about the weather. I can write about how much I hate writing. But I must write 1 paragraph, by hand, in a notebook, every single day. This was brilliant. She removed the fear. The novel was too big, too frightening. But a paragraph about breakfast? That was nothing. That was safe. She was not trying to create art. She was just moving her hand across the paper. She was striking the flint without worrying about the fire. The first week was awkward. Her paragraphs were stilted and boring. But she did it. Every day. The second week, something shifted. She found herself looking forward to it. It became a small, quiet ritual. She would sit with her tea in the morning, open her notebook, and let the words come. She stopped judging them. She just let them flow. The chanda was waking up. The fear was dissolving. By the third week, she found herself writing more than 1 paragraph. She would finish her one, and then she would write another, just for fun. She was no longer forcing herself. She was being pulled. By the end of the month, she opened a new document on her computer. She looked at the blank page, and for the first time, she did not feel terror. She felt a quiet curiosity. She wrote the first sentence of her novel. It was not a great sentence. But it was a sentence. And then she wrote another. The river had started to flow. It took her 2 years to finish that novel. But she did finish it. And she did it not by developing superhuman willpower, but by understanding her fear, by working with it instead of against it, and by starting so small that failure was impossible. She became a writer by first becoming someone who writes one paragraph about breakfast. This is the path. You do not climb the mountain in one leap. You take one step. And then another. And somewhere along the way, you realize that you are no longer climbing because you have to. You are climbing because you love the mountain. Now let us turn our attention to something the Buddha taught that is absolutely essential for understanding willpower. He spoke of the 5 hindrances. These are the forces that block the mind from clarity and strength. They are sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry, and doubt. In modern language, these are the enemies of your will. Think of your mind as a clear blue sky. The hindrances are the clouds that pass through. Sometimes they are small and white. Sometimes they are dark and stormy. But here is the important truth: the sky is always there, even when the clouds hide it. Your willpower is like that sky. It is always present. The hindrances are just clouds passing through. The work is not to create the sky. The work is to learn how to let the clouds dissolve. Let me tell you a story about a man named Marcus. Marcus was a talented musician. He played the piano beautifully. But he had a dream of composing his own music, of creating something original that would touch people's hearts. Every time he sat down to compose, however, something would happen. His mind would fill with doubt. This is not good enough. Who do you think you are? No one will want to hear this. This doubt was like a heavy fog. It paralyzed him. He would sit at the piano for hours, playing the same few chords, unable to move forward. One day, an old friend visited him. This friend was a monk who had known Marcus since childhood. Marcus shared his frustration. "I have the desire to compose," he said. "I feel the music inside me. But I cannot get it out. Something blocks me." The monk listened quietly. Then he said, "Marcus, when you sit at the piano, what do you feel in your body?" Marcus thought for a moment. "Tension," he said. "In my chest. In my shoulders. It feels tight, like something is squeezing me." The monk nodded. "That is doubt manifesting physically. It is not just a thought. It is a sensation. And like all sensations, it arises and passes away. Your mistake is that you try to make it go away by fighting it. You argue with the doubt. You try to convince yourself that you are good enough. But this is like trying to argue with a cloud. The cloud does not care about your arguments. It only cares about the wind." The monk continued. "Next time you sit to compose, do not try to get rid of the doubt. Do not fight it. Simply notice it. Feel the tightness in your chest. Acknowledge it. Say to yourself, 'Ah, there is doubt.' And then, gently, bring your attention back to your hands on the keys. Play one note. Just one. The doubt will still be there. But you are not feeding it with your attention. You are feeding your music instead. Marcus tried this. The next day, he sat at the piano. The doubt came immediately, like an old familiar friend. But instead of arguing, he noticed it. He felt the tightness. He said to himself, "There is doubt." And then he placed his fingers on the keys. He played one note. Then another. The doubt was still there, but it was quieter now. It had no fuel. He was not feeding it with his resistance. He was simply playing. Over time, something remarkable happened. The doubt did not disappear completely, but it lost its power. It became just another sensation, another cloud passing through the sky. And Marcus composed his music. He wrote pieces that brought tears to people's eyes. Not because he had eliminated doubt, but because he had learned to work with it. This is a profound teaching. Your willpower is not about eliminating the hindrances. It is about not being controlled by them. It is about recognizing them for what they are. Temporary visitors, not permanent residents. Now let us talk about another hindrance, sloth and torpor. This is the heaviness of mind, the drowsiness, the lethargy that keeps you from acting. In modern life, this is often caused by exhaustion, by poor sleep, by overwhelm. But sometimes it is caused by something deeper, a lack of meaning. Think of a river. When it flows downhill, it moves with energy and purpose. But if the river reaches a flat plain, it slows down. It becomes stagnant. It breeds mosquitoes. Your mind is the same. When you have a clear sense of direction, when you know why you are doing what you are doing, the energy flows. But when you lose that sense of purpose, the mind becomes stagnant. Sloth and torpor set in. The antidote is not caffeine. The antidote is not yelling at yourself. The antidote is reconnecting with your chanda, with your deep desire. You must remind yourself why you are on this path. You must visualize the goal. You must feel it in your body. Let me tell you a story about a woman named Sarah. Sarah was a medical student. She had dreamed of being a doctor since she was a little girl. But by her third year of medical school, she was exhausted. The endless studying, the sleepless nights, the pressure had worn her down. She would sit at her desk with her textbooks open, and she would just stare. She could not focus. She could not retain anything. She felt like she was drowning. She went to see her professor, an older woman who had been a doctor for 30 years. Sarah explained her situation. "I am so tired," she said. "I cannot study anymore. I have lost my will." The professor looked at her with kind eyes. "Sarah," she said, "close your eyes for a moment. I want you to remember the first patient you will ever treat. Imagine them sitting in front of you. They are scared. They are in pain. They are looking at you with hope in their eyes. They are trusting you to help them. Now open your eyes. What do you feel?" Sarah sat in silence. A single tear rolled down her cheek. She felt something stir inside her. It was the old feeling, the original desire that had brought her to medicine. It was the love of healing. It was her chanda. She went back to her room that night and opened her textbooks. They were still heavy. The material was still difficult. But now she saw something different. She saw the faces of future patients. She saw the knowledge not as a burden to be endured, but as a tool to be wielded in the service of love. The energy returned. Not immediately, not magically, but gradually. The river began to flow again. Now we must discuss something that is rarely spoken about but absolutely essential. The Buddha taught that the mind is shaped by what we feed it. Just as your body becomes what you eat, your mind becomes what you give your attention to. This is the law of karma, of cause and effect, operating at the most intimate level of your experience. Every time you check your phone, you are feeding something. Every time you scroll through social media, you are watering a seed. Every time you choose to study, to practice, to work on your goal, you are feeding something else. The question is not whether you have willpower. The question is, what are you feeding? Let me tell you a story about a young man named David. David was a gifted athlete. He played soccer at a competitive level. He had dreams of playing professionally. But he also had a habit. Every evening, after training, he would come home exhausted and collapse on the couch. He would pick up his phone and start scrolling. He would watch videos of other players, other teams, other games. He would tell himself he was just relaxing, just unwinding. But those 30 minutes would often become 2 hours. And by the time he looked up, he was too tired to do the extra training he had planned, too tired to review game footage, too tired to stretch properly. He came to me frustrated. "I have the desire," he said. "I want it so badly. But I cannot seem to do the extra work. My willpower just disappears at night." I asked him a simple question. "What are you feeding your mind in those evening hours?" He looked confused. "I am just relaxing. Just watching videos." "David," I said, "imagine you are a farmer. You have 2 fields. In one field, you want to grow wheat. In the other field, weeds keep appearing. Every evening, you go out and you pour water on the weeds. You tend them carefully. You give them your best fertilizer. And then you wonder why the wheat field is not producing. This is what you are doing with your mind. You are watering the weeds." He sat in silence. He understood immediately. Those videos were not neutral. They were feeding something. They were feeding the part of him that wanted escape, that wanted easy entertainment, that wanted to compare himself to others. They were strengthening the very habits that kept him from his goals. The next week, he made a change. He did not try to stop watching videos through sheer willpower. Instead, he changed his environment. He moved his phone charger to the kitchen. He put a book on his nightstand. He prepared his training gear the night before so it was the first thing he saw when he came home. He was not fighting the weed. He was simply removing the water. The first few nights were uncomfortable. He felt restless. His hand would reach for his phone, and it would not be there. But that restlessness was just the weed dying for lack of water. Within 2 weeks, he had established a new routine. He would come home, stretch properly, review his training, and then read for 30 minutes before bed. His energy improved. His focus improved. And his game improved. This is the power of understanding what you are feeding. Your willpower is not a fixed quantity. It flows toward what you nurture. If you nurture distraction, you will have plenty of willpower for distraction. If you nurture your goal, you will have plenty of willpower for your goal. The question is simply, What are you watering? Now let me tell you another story, this time about a woman named Anita. Anita was a business owner. She had built a successful company from nothing. But she was exhausted. She worked 12-hour days, 7 days a week. She had no time for herself, no time for her family, no time for anything but work. She thought this was what success required. She thought this was what willpower looked like. But slowly, her health began to suffer. She had headaches. She could not sleep. She was irritable with everyone. She came to a retreat hoping to find some peace. During one of the talks, the teacher spoke about right effort. He said that effort is not about how much you do. It is about how wisely you do it. A horse that runs all day without rest will collapse. A horse that runs with wisdom, with rest, with proper pacing, will travel much farther. Anita had a realization. She had been confusing effort with suffering. She thought that if she was not in pain, she was not working hard enough. She thought that rest was weakness. But the Buddha taught something different. He taught the middle way. Not too tight, not too loose. Not pushing too hard, not sinking into laziness. The middle way. She went back to her business and made changes. She hired help. She delegated. She set boundaries. She started taking one day off each week. The first few weeks were terrifying. She was sure the business would fall apart. But it did not. It actually grew. Because she was no longer an exhausted leader making poor decisions. She was a rested leader making clear decisions. Her willpower did not diminish. It became more focused. She was no longer spending her energy on 1,000 small tasks. She was spending it on the few things that truly mattered. And because she was rested, because she was not burned out, she had more energy for those things. This is the paradox of willpower. Sometimes the most willful thing you can do is to rest. Sometimes the most disciplined action is to stop. Sometimes the way to move faster is to slow down. The Buddha understood this. He taught that the path is not about grinding yourself into dust. It is about finding the balance, the middle way, where effort and ease dance together. Now we arrive at one of the most misunderstood aspects of willpower. We think of it as a solitary pursuit, something we do alone, inside our own heads. But the Buddha understood something deeper. Willpower is profoundly influenced by who we surround ourselves with. The people in your life are not just background noise. They are active forces shaping your mind every single day. Think of it like this. If you place a piece of fresh bread next to a rotten one, what happens? The fresh bread will eventually become moldy. Not because it wants to, but because the spores in the air, the proximity to decay, will transform it. Your mind is the same. If you surround yourself with people who are lazy, who complain, who have given up on their dreams, their energy will affect you. It will seep into your consciousness like mold spores. Not because you are weak, but because this is how minds work. We are deeply influenced by our environment. The Buddha said that admirable friendship is not just a small part of the spiritual life. It is the whole of it. He meant that if you have wise, motivated, kind people around you, half the work is already done. Their presence lifts you. Their example inspires you. Their words guide you. You do not have to generate all the willpower yourself. You borrow some of theirs. Let me tell you a story about a man named Carlos. Carlos was trying to quit smoking. He had tried many times. He had tried patches, gum, hypnosis, cold turkey. Nothing worked for more than a few weeks. He would always relapse, usually when he was out with his friends. His friends all smoked. They would gather after work, light up, and talk. For Carlos, smoking was not just an addiction. It was connection. It was belonging. How could he quit when quitting meant isolating himself from the people he cared about? He came to talk with me, frustrated and ashamed. I have no willpower, he said. I am weak. I said, Carlos, imagine you are a fish. You are trying to stop swimming. But you are in the middle of the ocean. Every direction you look, there is more water. Is it your fault that you keep swimming? Or is it simply your environment? He understood immediately. He was not weak. He was in an environment that made quitting nearly impossible. His friends were not bad people. They were just smokers. And every time he was with them, the habit was reinforced. The neural pathways were strengthened. The craving was triggered. So we made a plan. It was not a plan of isolation. It was a plan of gradual, compassionate change. He did not abandon his friends. But he started spending more time with other people too. He joined a hiking group. He started going to a meditation class. He found a community of people who did not smoke, who valued health, who were working on their own growth. He did not replace his old friends. He simply added new ones. And slowly, the balance shifted. The fresh bread was placed next to other fresh bread. The mold had less power. Within 6 months, Carlos had quit smoking. Not through heroic effort, but through environmental design. He had changed the water the fish was swimming in. Now let me tell you another story, this time about a woman named Layla. Layla was an artist. She painted beautiful, abstract works. But she had stopped painting. She had moved to a new city for work, and in this new city, she knew no one. She would come home from her job, exhausted, and stare at her blank canvases. The inspiration would not come. The will would not come. She felt like she had lost herself. One day, she walked past a small art gallery. There was a sign on the door, "Life Drawing Session Tonight. All welcome." She almost walked past. She was tired. She was shy. But something made her open the door. Inside, she found a small group of people, sitting in a circle, drawing a model. No one spoke much. They just drew. Layla found a seat and picked up a pencil. For the first time in months, she felt at home. She came back the next week. And the next. She started talking to the other artists. She learned about their work, their struggles, their passions. Slowly, her own passion returned. She started painting again. Not because she had found some hidden reserve of willpower, but because she had found her tribe. The energy of the group lifted her. Their commitment inspired her. Their presence reminded her who she was. This is the power of community. The Buddha understood this deeply. He did not teach people to go off and become hermits, at least not at first. He taught them to gather, to sit together, to walk together, to support each other. He knew that the path is hard enough alone. With friends, it becomes possible. So look at your own life. Who are you spending time with? Do they lift you or drag you? Do they inspire you or discourage you? Do they water your flowers or your weeds? This is not about judging others. It is about being honest with yourself. You have limited time, limited energy. Where are you investing it? If you want to develop willpower, find people who already have it. Spend time with them. Learn from them. Let their presence shape you. You do not have to do this alone. In fact, you cannot. We are all connected. We are all influencing each other. The question is simply, what influence are you allowing into your mind? Let us now speak about something that the Buddha emphasized again and again. It is the quality of mindfulness. In the context of willpower, mindfulness is not just about being aware. It is about creating a gap. A small space between the impulse and the action. In that gap lies your freedom. Think of it like this. You are standing at the edge of a river. The current is strong. If you fall in, you will be swept away. But if you have a rope tied to a tree, you can step into the water safely. You can always pull yourself back. Mindfulness is that rope. It is what keeps you from being swept away by every impulse, every craving, every distraction. The impulse to check your phone arises. Normally, without mindfulness, you are already reaching for it before you even notice. The impulse and the action are one. But with mindfulness, there is a gap. You notice the impulse. You feel it in your body. You observe it like a cloud passing through the sky. And in that moment of observation, you have a choice. You can reach for the phone, or you cannot. You are no longer a puppet. You are the puppet master. Let me tell you a story about a man named Tomas. Tomas was a lawyer. He was successful, driven, respected. But he had a temper. When things did not go his way, when people disappointed him, he would explode. He would say things he later regretted. He would damage relationships. He knew this about himself. He had tried to control it. He had tried counting to 10, walking away, breathing deeply. Nothing worked. In the heat of the moment, he would forget everything and just react. He came to a meditation retreat, not because he was interested in Buddhism, but because his wife had threatened to leave him if he did not get help. He was desperate. During the retreat, the teacher spoke about the gap. He said that between a stimulus and a response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose. Most people never see that space. They react instantly, automatically, like a machine. But with practice, the space can be seen. And with more practice, the space can be widened. Tomas was skeptical. But he practiced. He sat and watched his breath. He watched his thoughts. He watched his emotions. For days, nothing happened. He was bored, frustrated, angry. He wanted to leave. Then, on the 5th day, something shifted. He was sitting in the meditation hall, and a memory arose. A memory of a colleague who had betrayed him. The anger surged instantly, like fire. His body tensed. His jaw clenched. But this time, something was different. He was watching it. He was aware of the anger arising. And in that awareness, there was a tiny gap. A millisecond of space. In that space, he did not have to act. He could just watch. It was the most profound experience of his life. He realized that he was not his anger. He was the one watching the anger. The anger was a visitor, not the host. He went home and continued to practice. The next time someone disappointed him at work, the anger came. But now he saw the gap. He felt the impulse to yell, and instead of acting, he paused. Just for a second. In that second, he remembered who he wanted to be. He chose a different response. He spoke calmly. He addressed the issue without attacking the person. His colleagues were stunned. His wife was stunned. He was stunned. This is mindfulness. This is the gap. And this gap is the foundation of all willpower. Because willpower is not about never having bad impulses. It is about having the space to choose a different response. Now let me tell you another story, this time about a woman named Yuki. Yuki was a student. She had exams coming, but she could not focus. Every few minutes, her hand would reach for her phone. She would tell herself she was just checking one thing, and then an hour would pass. She felt helpless. She felt like her phone was controlling her. She learned about the gap. She started practicing mindfulness for just 5 minutes each day. She would sit and watch her breath. She would notice when her mind wandered. She would gently bring it back. This simple practice began to change her brain. One evening, she was studying. The impulse to check her phone arose. But this time, she noticed it. She felt the itch in her hand, the pull in her mind. She observed it. And in that observation, she realized something. She did not actually want to check her phone. She wanted a break. She wanted relief from the difficulty of studying. The phone was just the easiest way to get that relief. So she made a different choice. She stood up, walked to the kitchen, and made a cup of tea. She stood by the window and watched the rain for a few minutes. Then she sat back down and continued studying. The impulse had been seen. The gap had been used. And her willpower had been strengthened. This is the practice. It is simple, but not easy. It requires patience, consistency, and kindness toward yourself. You will fail many times. You will forget the gap. You will be swept away by impulses. This is normal. This is human. The practice is not about never failing. The practice is about coming back, again and again, to the gap. Each time you return, you strengthen the muscle of mindfulness. Each time you choose differently, you weaken the old habit and strengthen the new one. The Buddha compared this to training a wild elephant. You do not beat the elephant. You tie it to a strong post with a rope. The elephant will pull and struggle at first. But eventually, it will calm down. It will stand quietly by the post. Your breath is the post. Mindfulness is the rope. And your wild mind is the elephant. Tie it gently, patiently, again and again. And one day, you will find it standing still. Now we must discuss something that may seem paradoxical. The Buddha taught that attachment is the root of suffering. But here we are, talking about developing desire, cultivating passion. How do we reconcile these two? How can we have strong desire without being trapped by it? This is a subtle but essential distinction. The Buddha distinguished between two kinds of desire. One is tanha, which is craving based on ignorance. It is the thirst for sense pleasures, for becoming, for non-becoming. It is driven by a sense of lack, by the belief that something outside yourself will complete you. This kind of desire leads to suffering because it can never be satisfied. You get what you want, and soon you want something else. The pleasure fades, and the craving returns. The other kind is chanda, which is wholesome aspiration. It is the desire for well-being, for growth, for liberation. It is not based on lack. It is based on love. It is the natural expression of a heart that wants to flourish. This kind of desire does not lead to suffering. It leads to freedom. Think of it like this. Imagine two people climbing a mountain. The first person is climbing because they feel incomplete without reaching the top. They believe that once they get there, they will finally be happy. They are driven by tanha. Every step is a struggle. They are anxious, grasping, fearful of failure. If they reach the top, the happiness is brief. Soon they are looking for another mountain. The second person is climbing because they love mountains. They love the feeling of their muscles working, the fresh air, the views along the way. They are not climbing to become complete. They are climbing because climbing is part of who they are. This is chanda. Every step is its own reward. If they reach the top, wonderful. If they do not, they have still had a beautiful journey. Your willpower must be rooted in chanda, not tanha. If you are trying to develop willpower because you hate yourself, because you feel inadequate, because you think success will finally make you worthy, you are building on sand. The motivation will collapse under pressure. But if you are developing willpower because you love yourself, because you want to express your potential, because the journey itself brings joy, then your foundation is rock. Let me tell you a story about a woman named Ingrid. Ingrid was a dancer. From the time she was a little girl, she loved to move. She would dance in the kitchen, in the garden, anywhere. It was pure joy. As she grew older, she trained seriously. She was talented. She was accepted into a prestigious company. But something changed. The joy began to fade. The pressure to be perfect, to get the lead roles, to please the directors, to compete with other dancers, it all became overwhelming. She started to hate her body. She started to hate dancing. She would force herself to go to rehearsals, but the will was gone. She was burning out. She came to talk with me, crying. "I have lost it," she said. "I have lost my passion. I do not want to dance anymore." I asked her, "Ingrid, when you were a little girl dancing in the kitchen, why did you dance?" She smiled through her tears. "Because it felt good. Because I loved it." "That was chanda," I said. "That was pure aspiration. But somewhere along the way, it got mixed with tanha. You started dancing to be seen, to be validated, to prove something. That craving is exhausting. It is a fire that burns you up. You must return to the kitchen. You must find the girl who dances for no reason at all. She took this advice. She stopped auditioning for a while. She stopped competing. She found a small studio and danced alone, just for herself. She would put on music and move however her body wanted to move. No judgment. No audience. No goal. Slowly, the joy returned. The chanda came back. And when she eventually returned to the company, she danced differently. She danced from love, not from lack. And her performances were more beautiful than ever. Now let me tell you another story, this time about a man named Kenji. Kenji was a businessman. He had built a successful company and sold it for a large sum of money. By all external measures, he had succeeded. But he was deeply unhappy. He felt empty. He had achieved his goal, and there was nothing left. He came to a retreat, confused and depressed. I did everything right, he said. I worked hard. I sacrificed. I developed immense willpower. And now that I have what I wanted, I feel nothing. What is wrong with me? I said, Kenji, your willpower was driven by tanha. You believed that success would complete you. But nothing outside yourself can complete you. You are already complete. The work is not to get something you lack. The work is to express what you already are. He did not understand at first. It took time. But slowly, he began to explore. What did he actually love? What brought him joy as a child? He remembered that he loved gardening. He loved putting seeds in the ground and watching them grow. He had forgotten this passion for decades. He started a small garden. Not for profit, not for status, just for love. He would spend hours there, weeding, watering, tending. And in that garden, he found a different kind of willpower. It was effortless. It was joyful. It was chanda. He did not need to force himself to garden. He looked forward to it. And he realized that this was the feeling he had been missing his whole life. The feeling of doing something for its own sake, not for what it would bring him. This is the secret. Your willpower will be weak as long as it is rooted in craving. It will be strong only when it is rooted in love. So ask yourself, why do you want what you want? Is it because you feel incomplete without it? Or is it because the doing of it, the becoming of it, is an expression of who you truly are? The answer to that question will determine everything. Now let us speak about the role of rest in developing willpower. This may seem counterintuitive. We think of willpower as pushing, striving, effort. But the Buddha taught that the path requires balance. Too much effort leads to exhaustion. Too little leads to stagnation. The wise person knows when to strive and when to rest. Think of a bow and arrow. If the bowstring is too loose, the arrow will not fly. If it is too tight, the bow will break. The skilled archer knows the exact tension required. Your mind is the same. It needs times of focused effort and times of complete relaxation. Both are necessary. Both are part of the path. In our modern culture, we have forgotten this. We glorify burnout. We wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. We think that if we are not suffering, we are not working hard enough. This is a mistake. The Buddha called this the way of the tortured ascetic, and he rejected it. He tried extreme effort. He nearly died. And he realized that it was not the path to freedom. Let me tell you a story about a woman named Helena. Helena was an entrepreneur. She was brilliant, driven, passionate. She worked 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. She answered emails at midnight. She skipped meals. She sacrificed sleep. She told herself that this was what success required. She told herself that she would rest later, after she had made it. But later never came. Her health deteriorated. She developed chronic pain. She could not sleep even when she tried. Her mind was a constant whirlwind of plans and worries. She was productive, yes, but she was also miserable. And slowly, her productivity began to decline. She made mistakes. She forgot things. She lost her creativity. She came to a retreat, desperate for help. She could barely sit still for 5 minutes. Her mind raced. Her body trembled. She was a mess. The teacher gave her one instruction: for the next week, I want you to do nothing. No work. No planning. No thinking about the future. Just be here. Walk slowly. Eat slowly. Sit and watch your breath. If thoughts arise, let them pass. Do not engage. Do nothing. Helena thought this was impossible. But she tried. The first 2 days were agony. Her mind screamed for stimulation. She felt like she was going crazy. But she persisted. By the 3rd day, something shifted. The screaming quieted. By the 5th day, she felt something she had not felt in years: peace. By the 7th day, she was crying, not from pain, but from relief. She had forgotten what rest felt like. She returned to her business, but she was different. She worked fewer hours. She slept more. She took weekends off. And to her surprise, her business did not suffer. It grew. Because she was no longer an exhausted leader making poor decisions. She was a rested leader making clear, creative decisions. The rest had not weakened her will. It had strengthened it. Now let me tell you another story, this time about a young monk I knew. His name was Ananda. He was eager, enthusiastic, determined. He wanted to attain enlightenment quickly. He meditated for hours each day. He slept only a few hours. He pushed himself relentlessly. After a few months, he hit a wall. He could not concentrate. He felt dull, heavy, discouraged. He went to his teacher and confessed his failure. I am trying so hard, he said. Why am I not progressing? The teacher smiled. He picked up a stringed instrument that was lying nearby. He plucked a string. It was too loose. It made a dull, flabby sound. He tightened it and plucked again. Too tight. The note was sharp and tense. He adjusted the string to the middle, plucked it, and a beautiful, clear note rang out. "This is your answer," the teacher said. "Too loose, and the mind is sluggish. Too tight, and the mind is tense. The middle way, balanced effort, is where the music comes from. Rest is not the opposite of effort. Rest is the partner of effort. They dance together." Ananda understood. He adjusted his practice. He meditated with less strain. He allowed himself to rest when tired. He walked mindfully instead of forcing more sitting. And slowly, steadily, his practice deepened. The music began to flow. This teaching is for you as well. If you are pushing yourself to the point of exhaustion, stop. If you are feeling guilty for resting, release that guilt. Rest is not laziness. Rest is wisdom. It is the recognition that you are a human being, not a machine. Machines can run continuously. Humans need cycles of effort and recovery. The Buddha compared the mind to a flame. A flame needs fuel, but it also needs air. Too much fuel, and it smothers. Too much air, and it extinguishes. The balanced flame burns bright and steady. This is what you are aiming for. A steady, sustainable effort that can continue for the long journey. Not a frantic sprint that leaves you collapsed by the side of the road. So tonight, when you finish listening, give yourself permission to rest. Sleep well. Tomorrow, when you wake, you will begin again. Fresh. Renewed. Ready. This is the rhythm of the wise. This is the middle way. Let us now bring all of these teachings together. We have traveled far together on this journey. We have spoken of chanda, the wholesome desire that fuels willpower. We have spoken of action coming before motivation, of starting so small that failure is impossible. We have spoken of fear masquerading as laziness, of the hindrances that cloud the mind, of the gap of mindfulness where freedom lives. We have spoken of the people we surround ourselves with, of the difference between craving and aspiration, of the essential wisdom of rest. Now we arrive at the final truth. Willpower is not something you have or do not have. It is not a fixed trait you were born with. It is a capacity, a muscle, a garden that you tend. And like any garden, it grows not through force, but through consistent, loving attention. The Buddha's final teaching to his disciples was this: be a lamp unto yourselves. Be your own refuge. Work out your own salvation with diligence. He did not tell them to rely on him. He told them to rely on their own effort, their own mindfulness, their own unwavering commitment to the path. This is your task as well. No one else can develop your willpower for you. No teacher, no book, no video can do the work. They can point the way. They can offer guidance. But the walking, the actual walking, must be done by you. Let me tell you one final story. It is the story of a woman named Rosa. Rosa was in her 60s. She had lived a difficult life. She had raised children alone, worked multiple jobs, faced many hardships. Now, in her later years, she wanted to learn to meditate. She wanted to find some peace before the end of her life. She came to the meditation center where I was staying. She was shy, uncertain. She could not sit cross-legged. Her knees hurt. Her mind wandered constantly. She felt like she was failing. I gave her a simple instruction. Rosa, I said, forget about meditating. Just sit in this chair for 10 minutes each day. Just sit. Feel your breath. When your mind wanders, gently bring it back. That is all. She did this every day for a year. Some days she missed. Most days she did not. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, her mind began to settle. The wandering became less frantic. The peace she had sought began to appear, not as a dramatic breakthrough, but as a quiet, steady presence. One day, she came to me with tears in her eyes. I understand now, she said. It was never about the meditation. It was about showing up. It was about being kind to myself while I showed up. That is where the will came from. Not from forcing, but from loving. She was right. That is the final secret. Willpower is love in action. It is the love for yourself that makes you show up day after day. It is the love for your goal that pulls you through the difficult times. It is the love for life itself that keeps you going when everything in you wants to stop. So go now. Tend your garden. Water your flowers. Be patient with the weeds. Show up, day after day, with kindness and consistency. The results may not come quickly. They may not come as you expect. But they will come. Because this is the law. This is the way. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you develop the willpower that comes from love, and may it carry you to the highest fulfillment of your own beautiful potential. Thank you for walking this path with me here at Monk's Temple. Until we meet again.